Hey guys, welcome back to the Chaotic Kids channel, where I'm Michelle and making fantasies come true, one story at a time. And today we are going to be talking about how the Unbound Ministry / Unbound book, A Practical Guide to Deliverance by Neil Lozano, has not only gotten me back into my religion, but also how it has made me a better person. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If religion and talks of suicide is not your kind of thing that you like to watch, you can go ahead and click off. But this is going to be a more personal video talking about my life with depression, how God has slowly been implemented into my life for the last 6 years, and then slowly coming to where I am here now after about a year of fully diving into my faith and feeling so much more alive and so much more whole. So if that sounds exciting to you guys, go ahead and stick around. But I say let's just jump into it. So to start off with, let's do a little history of who I am. So I was born and raised Catholic. I am the youngest out of 4 kids. And as of 2026, I am currently diagnosed with complex PTSD, conversion disorder, which is like a which is a mental health disorder that's not necessarily seizures and it's not necessarily anything else. But it is something that has to deal with like when your body gets overstimulated, overstressed, overworked. Your body will have seizure-like episodes, which is stuff that I've got. I also have depression, and I've also got multiple personalities, which basically means when I was little, everyone is made up of a part. Basically, who they are, that is who they are. So, like, that's the one part of them. While for me, I have multiple different parts. So, I was very fractured. Like, my mind is very fractured from things in my past with trauma. Also, I feel like my mind was always a much more creative place, causing me to dissociate more often. And with that, my mind started to divide, and created these, I say created, but other parts of me split off, resulting in my multiple personalities. So that's kind of some history, like surface level things. But let's get a little dive deeper. So growing up, my family, I would say we were religious, but not really fully in tune to it as much as I would like, or as much as I thought. Like, so our family, all of us kids went to religion classes. We got all of the sacraments that we could possibly get. So First Holy Communion, First Confession, Confirmation. Why can't I think? I can't think of them all right now. I'm kind of here, kind of not here. But we received all the sacraments we could. We also served a mass quite a bit. We're from a small little community, and all of us were able to serve a mass. We served pretty much, I personally, for me, I served ever since I first Holy Communion to when I graduated. So that's probably 10 years worth of graduation and stuff. I could be wrong. 10 years of religion. 10 years of masses to serve. I pretty much served every Saturday. Sometimes I was by myself. Other times I had my siblings there. But for the last 5 years of that time, I was on my own. There was obviously other people in the community that served, but there was never the proper 3 amount that we always had. And then our priest later on, after one of our priests died and a new one came in, they wanted 5 servers, and we're like, good luck with that. But when it came to masses, I was so in tune with like every saying, every word, and like every key point of things that you need to act on. So like, I'll just take offertory. So like, as soon as Father sits down, the cross-bearer will go to the cross, go carry the cross to the back for offertory, and then the other servers will get the table ready. The altar ready. I had everything down pat. No matter what, I knew what was going on. So it became very performative for me. And as time went on, I, like, with my conversion disorder slowly coming into play, I struggled more and more with being able to serve in Mass, because I would get over anxious about the possibility of like, oh, this could go wrong, or I don't want to be present with other people kind of thing. So it was a lot of things happening at that time. But I will also say when it came to my religion, like, I never really applied myself like I am today. Like, I never really prayed my rosaries. I didn't really do anything that I would like to do now. Well, the things that I'm doing now. Mostly because, like, I've always felt like, A, I always felt like an outcast, but B, when it came to, like, religion time, like, for religions classes, I always, felt like I was I always felt like I was underrated, because one classmate would say I would say something, and then another classmate would say the same thing, but slightly different, like, wording, and the teacher would praise him, but not me. So I always kind of struggled with kind of knowing my place, which probably resulted in the reason why I have depression and why I kind of had suicidal tendencies, which all came to head in 2016 when my parents learned that I tried to commit suicide at school. First time I was hospitalized, first time I started going into therapy, all that sort of stuff. I'm much better now. But that's kind of how my high school career was, like, always feeling like I was second fiddle to someone, never knowing where I belonged, feeling as if I should be more Catholic while also not feeling more Catholic. And also at that time, I still had my parts, but they weren't, like, I didn't know about them, or my altars. So there's some of us who were, like, more into the religion, some of us were more taken out of it, and I never registered it as, like, the body never recognized that we were different people. We did get diagnosed with bipolar disorder for a little bit, but then that got taken away, and we got schizoaffective, and then that got changed to multiple personality. So it's been a journey. But yeah, so that was kind of how high school was a lot of never feeling in place, struggling with depression, and whenever it came to graduation, I kind of stopped going to Mass, mostly because I wasn't able to make it. I felt bad every time I had to leave church early, and also when I was at church, I always felt like I had to go up and serve, which would then cause me problems, so it was always a struggle. But in 2019, when I graduated, I also was starting to write, but I knew I needed to get out of the house, and that is whenever I first discovered this little Catholic shop that a friend of mine now owns. Well, a friend, she was my friend. I mean, the owner of it at the time later became my friend. And that community, that little store was such a peaceful place for me to be in. They had this little corner called Grace in Your Corner. It was done, it's something that the owner's son kind of started because he suffered with, I'm pretty sure, depression as well. I honestly can't remember the story now, but I'm pretty sure he suffered with depression. But that little spot became my little sanctuary for the next, 4 or 5 years. Especially whenever I started living with my brother. And so whenever I went to Soul Provider during those times with my brother, for the next 4 years, I went there every single day. And so with that, I became friends with the ladies who worked/owned it. There were actually they all were somehow related to each other. Some were through marriage, some were siblings. But they were very much, it was a tight-knit community, tight-knit section, and the ladies just brought me a spark of life that I hadn't seen in such a long time. They gave me a place to feel safe, they gave me a place where I didn't feel judged, and it was so nice to just be kind of escaped from common everyday life and just escape to not feeling the pressure of being something. And, as time progressed, I slowly started to open up more and more to the ladies. They helped me understand my faith. they never did anything outright, like saying, oh, this is religion based, like they were just like, hey, I'm doing this. Would you be interested in joining me? And that's kind of how I started doing the total consecration to the Immaculate and trying to dedicate my life to Mary, because of this spark that this one friend started it with me. And so slowly I was getting back with faith. I was getting back and I was talking to Mary again. And basically time progressed, and this leads up to October of 2025. Actually, kind of led up to September of 2025, where I was admitted to the hospital, hopefully for the last time. I would just had way too much going on my plate. I was slightly suicidal, but also kind of not. Actually, I don't remember. I think I was suicidal. I couldn't remember. But I was just in this downward spiral. I was trying to pray the rosary, had a scapular on, but at that time, my friends were doing this prayer for asking for help from Mary, the undoer of knots, and the two friends were praying for me, and I was praying for myself as well for help undoing my knots. And while I was at the hospital, I met a group of guys who were in their faith. They weren't Catholic, they were Christians, non-denominational Christians. But they kind of helped me implement a little more prayer into my life. Or at least made me want to get back into my faith a little more. And then that leads to afterwards, I started to talk more to one of the ladies. That lady then invited me to this retreat, which was called the Unbound Retreat, done by a ministry called Psalm 91 Ministry. It was a women's retreat for Unbound. I didn't know what it was exactly. I kind of stayed there for a little bit, but I wasn't fully there at the time, like fully present. So I left early. But it kind of sparked I kind of want to know more about this, It also gave me an excuse to see this friend, And so I was like, okay, I'll think about it, And then that led to March 2026. My friend was like, hey, she has this little Unbound Ministry group, local group, that prays for other people, and she was just like, hey, I'm doing this class. If you want to, you can join, kind of thing. And at first I was like, I don't know if I'll do it, but she is like, it's happening on Saturdays. You're more than welcome to come. It's okay if you don't want to, but you're welcome. And I went to the first meeting, had a blast. I met a lot of lovely people. Okay, I saw a lot of lovely people. They all felt very connected with their faith and stuff. They're all older than me. I would say they're all like grandparents' age, which should mean like 40s, but I don't know what their age is. But I started to regularly go to these meetings on Saturday mornings. And as this classes have been progressing, I have been gaining more and more in my faith. Then that leads to June of 2026, where I got the book that the ministry is kind of based on, which is The Unbound, A Practical Guide to Deliverance, by Neil Lozano. And, that's kind of how everything's progressed till now. Today is the last day in July. And I just wanted to talk about how the Unbound group has really helped me grow in my faith a little more. So with the Unbound group, a lot of it, or the Unbound guide, it talks a lot about the prodigal son, the I think it's just prodigy of the lost son, of the prodigal son, I mean. But they talk a lot about that, and how, the dad forgave the son before he even needed to be forgiven. And how the other son was very resentful, and just how everything kind of progressed, like how this story has the yin and yang of both kids, and also how the father, who is like our father, like God, how he forgives and loves us no matter what, and he's not forcing us into anything. But it's just, that's kind of how it starts. But the Unbound Ministry kind of starts on, like, focuses on 5 different keys, which is repentance and faith, forgiveness, renouncing the lies or sins in your life, standing on the authority of Christ, and receiving the Father's blessing. And I will say, like, I have been working through these steps kind of more on my own because of my multiple personalities. I have a lot of amnesia walls that I can't really break through. So, like, I can't remember most of my childhood. But I've been working through this book. I've been working through different different situations, trying to break down these walls, and I'm implementing these steps, being like, okay, I need to forgive said person for these things that I'm not sure about. I'm going to keep trying to dive into these memories and really see what I need to forgive, kind of thing. And that is ending up being such a beautiful thing for me. And everything is kind of really rounding out into such a beautiful thing because in the last year, so 2026, I have not only been on this spiritual journey of growing with the help of the Unbound group, but also with the help of my physical health as well. So I am on a diet. Well, I say diet, it's more I'm counting my calories, watching how much I eat, trying to go out for more walks, but I do have a monthly weight appointment just to see how I'm doing on weight. So I'm like not only growing spiritually, but also physically and emotionally as well with continuing to do therapy. And everything has just become such a beautiful thing. Like I've read multiple books that say like there's 3 different aspects to a well-rounded person, you know, like there's the physical aspect because our body is a temple. There's our mind palace or our our emotional mental health side. Then there's also the spiritual side. And without all 3 of those aspects, people are often misguided and feeling a lot more lost. So if you guys are personally someone that struggles in some aspect of your life, you know, like I would seriously suggest like kind of going into like a different, like thinking of like other ways that like say you're physically in shape, mentally you're all right, but you still feel lost. Add that spiritual side. Or if you're incredibly spiritual, you're feeling good about your body, but yet you still feel something's missing, go to your mental side. Because not everyone's perfect. No one's perfect, actually. And it's just important to keep in mind all these aspects of a person and make sure you're the most well-rounded person you can be. And I know personally for me, when it comes to the Unbound meetings and also this book, I am planning on rereading the book. I'm planning on continuing to go to these meetings because I am learning so much about myself, but also I'm learning how I have always held myself to the standard of trying to be like other people and trying to be like older people, like trying to be like people in their older ages, like knowing everything or knowing how to take care of things. And then I'm like realizing just because you're gray does not mean you know everything. Like people are still struggling with their own demons. They may present as they're fine, but you know, like they might present on the outside that they're good, but on the inside they're in turmoil. And that's slowly coming into mind, and I'm like, okay, how can I take this aspects that I'm learning from these people and tie it into other people's, like, into a hopeful career that I can make? Not necessarily in the full full spiritual side, but since I am an author, I want to implement these, like, mental health journeys and also the spiritual side of life into books that I write to hopefully help save those people that write books so they can books tell stories that they may be fictional works, but yet they are real. Or they have real aspects in them. So that's kind of how I'm wanting to implement everything to happen. And, you know, I had this 5-year goal to becoming a religious sister. I no longer am wanting to do that. I don't think, at least, or currently. Just because I have so much things going on at home and in my personal life that I'm like, I can't commit to wanting to, like, I don't know, like, I feel called to sisterhood, but at the same point I don't because of my multiple personalities. And it's not right for me to cut off good portions of my system and just be like, oh, I'm gonna fully be Catholic now. Like, not, I am fully Catholic, but like, fully only do that, never anything else. So I'm trying to grow. And I hope that one day, if I don't become a sister, I do want to own a storefront where I can have that kind of same atmosphere as Soul Provider, but more book related, and more media focused. But yeah, I made this video so you guys can hopefully learn to embrace all aspects of your life, for you guys to get to know me a little more, but also to talk about the Unbound group. I know I didn't talk about it a lot, but Unbound is truly helpful. I plan on rereading this book again. I plan on continuing to go to the classes, continue to going, like praying, asking for help, and growing, honestly. Yeah, I don't really know how else to say this, but I'm here to grow. And my faith has definitely gotten stronger over these last year. And I can't wait to see where I'll be next year and the year after and all the years coming up. Because if I feel this good already, like I feel so much better than I was back in 2020. And I just can't wait to continue to grow in faith, in mental health, in physical, and become something better, become something greater than what I am now. Because God is leading me on this path, and I truly can't wait to see where He leads me to next. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will leave a link down in the description to the Unbound book and also to Psalm 91 Ministries, so you guys can check it out if you want and have like a local parish wanting to possibly host them, I guess. I think that's the right word. I don't know. But yeah, I'm growing. I'm so inspired for life, and I don't know what else to say. I do say, if you guys are wanting, like, I always say at the end of my videos, making fantasies come true one story at a time. And right now, my fantasy is my reality. Well, I'm working on making my reality into my fantasy. And I'm just ready to keep telling it. So if you guys have anything you want to comment down below, tell me about your mental health, tell me about your spiritual life, whatever you want to comment down below, go ahead and comment it. I will gladly talk to you guys whenever you guys ask me anything, you know. And yeah, I just hope you guys all have a lovely day, and I will see you guys next time, okay? Bye!